na-consume na natin yung isang oras. Okay. Medyo pause lang po ha. Pagpasensya nyo ng boses. Baka hindi po clear sa inyo. So, before we start now, kindly turn in your attendance for today. Then, ano po tayo discussion ngayon? Pa- So, our topic for today is precedence parsing. So, for precedence parsing is a technique is used for the field in compiler design to parse expression, particularly those who involving the operators with different level of precedence and associativity. It is a bottom-up parsing that efficient and simple for certain classes of grammars, particularly those used to describe arithmetic expression. Key concept of precedence parsing on the operator precedence, it is defines the order which different operators in expression are evaluated. Operators with higher precedence are evaluated before the operators with lower precedence. Associ- the next key concept is the associativity. Defines wait lang, boss. Defines in order which operator of the same precedence level are evaluated. Common types of associativity include on the left associative, it is the operator are evaluated from left to right po. So that's on the left associative po. The example given is the addition and subtraction. On the right associative, operators are evaluated from right to left po. Only for example, ano po dito, no, from right to left po. So, pabaliktad doon sa left associative po. So, the example here is the exponentation. That's on the second part of key components. The third part is the key concept is the precedence table. A table that specifies the precedence and associativity of operator. This table used by the parser to decide in the order of evaluation of operators in expression. So this is our key concept, operator precedence, associativity, and then precedence table. Types of precedence parser. So the types of precedence parser is the simple precedence parser. It's used for precedence table to guide the parsing process. It is simpler but less powerful than the other methods on the this is the first type of our precedence parser. Second part is the operator precedence parser, a more advanced type of precedence parser that use precedence between operators to parse the expression. That's in the two types po. And then here, on the precedence parsing, there is an operator precedence parsing step po. On the first is the precedence relations. So defines the three types of precedence relations between pairs of operators. First is the less than. So alam niyo po to less than naman tong symbol. Operator of the left has the lower precedence than the operator on the right. So on the left, parang ito pong representative ng less than. The greater than, operator on the left has higher precedence than the operator on the right. Just on the greater than. And equal to, operators to the left and right have the same precedence po. Okay? And then, next po, on our operator precedence is the parsing table. So the parsing table, construct a parsing table using a precedence relationship. This table help the parser decide when to shift, read the next input symbol, and when the reduce apply production rule. So that's on the parsing table. Next is the shift reduce parsing. From ito po yung shift, it is the read the input symbol and push into the stack. So nagpapatong pa. Pag stack, diba patong-patong. It is also reduce is apply the production rule on the symbols of the stack, replacing with them on the left hand side of the rule po. So this is the shift reduce parsing. Okay po. So this is our operator precedence parsing steps. For example po ng ating precedence po na ating consider expression of A addition by B multiply by C with the following precedence and associative rules for multiplication has the higher precedence than the addition po. Then both addition and subtraction are left associative po. So from left siya lagi. So ibig sabihin, 'di ba sabi kanina po pag ano po addition and ano po multiplication on the left associative po. So less than siya. Po. So for example, ang precedence table natin dito po no. For addition to addition, it is higher po. So this is a greater than. This is the addition to multiplication greater than. And the ID po is addition to addition, it is greater, but on the dollar sign, symbol is less than po. For multiplication po, multiplication to addition, it is less than. And then for multiplication to multiplication, it's greater than. Ito naman po for multiplication and ID is greater than. Then multiplication to dollar sign is less than. Then for the ID column, all of the operator natin na addition, multiplication, and then hindi siya pwede sa ID to ID, no? And dollar sign will be on the less than symbol. And then for the table of ano po natin, ng precedence ng dollar sign, it is on the ano po natin dito, it's operator of addition, multiplication, and ID as it is on the greater than side po. Okay pa? So this is our precedence table. So precedence parsing, their parsing process initialize on the stack of the end of the import marker of dollar. Read the per symbol and an identifier and shift into the stack. Read the next input symbol, addition, and compare its precedence with the top of the stack A. Since the operator has the end uh, addition has the higher precedence, shift into addition into the stack po. Then read the input and the symbol of an identifier and shift into the stack po ulit. So magpapatong siya, no? Read the next input symbol with multiplication or addition. Compare the precedence of the top of the stack B since the higher precedence than the ano natin, addition, shift into the stack po. Read the next input of symbol as an identifier and shift into the stack po. Compare the precedence of multiplication po with C and since the higher precedence of reduce B on the ano po natin multiplied by C to a single operand po. And then compare the precedence of addition with the result of reduction. Since the addition has the higher precedence, reduce A plus B. So ang gagawin dito, pag ano natin sa MDAS, di ba, A plus B multiply by C. So una mo itong ipapasok bago itong papuntang addition po to a single operand po. Then the benefits of precedence parsing is efficiency. Precedence parsing can be implemented efficiently, making it suitable for real-time applications. Simplicity of methods, straightforward and easy to understand, and arithmetic expression po. Wait lang, class. So, for limitations po ng ating ano, benefit of proceedings is the efficiency and simplicity, no? And then the limitation po ng proceedings parsing, there are grammar restrictions. Proceedings parsing is not suitable for all types of grammars, particularly those with more complex structures. So that's on the grammar restrictions. Ambiguity. So care must be taken on to ensure the grammar precedence rules does not introduce ambiguity po. So that's on the R limitations. For more detailed po on other ano natin, wait lang kas, sorry. So for more detailed book po, you can use the information you can refer in the textbook of Compiler Principle of Techniques and Tools by Ahulam, Sethi, and then Ullman. So this is our precedence parsing. So for human language traditional methods, so class ito po, it is regarding on some of the topic or some of the human languages, but I will not deep dive. Uh, shared some phonetics on the phonology. So, phonetics po natin, kung maalala nyo po, sino may alam po sa phonetics languages? Anyone who will know po the phonetics po? Alam nyo po ba yung phonetics? Yung, yung Alpha Bravo? There are some of the ano po no, para po ma-describe yung letter po. For example, pag inaano mo yung mga pangalan nyo, pag ini-spell po, katulad ng pag tumatawag ka sa telepono, at tinatanong, Sir, paano po i-spell po ang inyo pong pangalan? So sabihin ko, based on my capital letter po. Nakalimutan ko yung N eh, pero phonetics po, Alpha Bravo, may mga ganun po silang tinatawag ng phonetical po. Morphology, so here are some of the study of structure formation words on analyze and morphones po. But on the syntax, this is a study of structure of sentence and a govern formation sentence and focus on how the words combine the form and causes po. So here po, here are some ano po, you can read this but it's not more deep dive on the human language traditional method but it's more ano po natin na nade-develop ng paano tayo magsalita ngayon. Okay po. So more ano po, hindi ko na ito ano right naman, masyadong i-deep dive, but you can read this class as the human language traditional methods po. Next is our computational methods po. So for computational methods, in linguistic and language involves the using of algorithm, models, and computational tools analyze and process human languages. These methods have become increasingly important in the advent large-scale digital text or operand and the development of sophisticated computational techniques. Here are some of the computational methods used in the field po. For natural language or process or the NLP, it is the branch of artificial intelligence focused on interaction between computers and human languages. It involves several subfields of techniques. So ito po yung napapaloob po sa ating NLP or Natural Language Processing. It is the tokenization. So tanda-tanda nyo yan. The process of breaking down into smaller units such as the words and sentences. The part of speech tagging, assigning parts of speech, it is the given noun, verb, adjective, each word in a text po. Entity recognition or the NER, identifying the classifying entities, text such as the names, people, organization, location, dates, and more. That's on the NER. Parsing, analyzing the syntactic structure of sentence using the parser. Example, the dependency parsing, consistency parsing po. That's on the parsing natin. Sentiment analysis. So this is determining the sentiment or emotion expressed by the text, such as the positive, negative, neutral. That's on the sentiment analysis. Machine traditional, automatically translating text from one language to another using the statistical machine translation models. That's on the machine translation. Text summarization. This is a creating of concise summaries for longer text, either through extractive selecting sentences or abstractive generating new sentences methods. So this is a part of our NLP for tokenization, part of speech tagging, name entity recognition or the NER, parsing, sentiment, machine translation, and text summarization. That's on the NLP. Second, on the ating ano po computational methods is the corpus linguistic. So the corpus linguistic involves the study of language through large collection of texts or the corpora. So ibig sabihin pag sinabing collection of text, it is a corpora, no? Computational methods in corpus linguistic includes the corpus annotation, adding the linguistic information or the corpus as the part of speech tags, syntactic structure, or semantic roles. Concordance analysis, examining the occurrence of words, phrases, context to study usage of meaning. Then the next is the frequency analysis. This is the frequency of analysis with the other linguistic features in a corpus. Frequency analysis. Uh, Collocation analysis, it is studying of the co-occurrence on pattern of word, understand the typical usage of association. This is the corpus linguistic. Next is it's a statistical method. So statistical method are widely used in computational linguistics to the model and analyze the language data. For engrams, sequence of items, for example, the words, characters used for model language pattern, commonly used in a language modeling text in prediction. Hidden Markov model or the HMMs, probabilistic of models used for tasks such as the part of speech tagging and speech recognition. Uh, Maximum entropy models or statistical model used for classification tasks such as the name, entity recognition, and text categorization. Latent, uh, Dirichlet allocation or LDA. It is the generative model for use for top modeling which discovers underlying topics of collection of documents. So, here po statistical method, kung maalala niyo po dito class, no? Meron ba kayong statistics na subject? Meron kayo class? Yung mga pag quantitative meron po? Okay. So this is a part of including on the statistical method. So it will be more this po kung na-describe ito in a deep dive po ng computational methods. On machine learning and deep learning, there is the machine learning here and deep learning techniques has revolutionized on computational linguistics by enabling the development of powerful models for various language tasks po. Supervised learning, training models, and label data for such as the text classification, sentiments, analysis, name, entity recognition. Unsupervised learning, this is the discovering patterns and label data such as the clustering several documents or words. Neural network po, deep learning on such as the recurrent neural network or RNN, convocational neural network or the CNN used for tasks unlike language modeling and machine translation text generation. That's on the neural network. On the transformers, this is the advanced neural network and architecture such as the BERT. or the bidirectional encoder representation from transformers, and GPT. This is a generative pre-trained transformer used for a wide range of NLP tasks, including the text classification and questioning the answer in the language generation. Next po, it is the speech processing po. Here on the speech processing involves analyzing generation spoken language using the computational methods. Automatic speech recognition, or the ASR, it is converting this language into text using the train or large data set in the text po. Text to speech, or TTS, generating spoken language from text using the synthesis models. So for the speaker recognition, identifying the verifying speaker, identify based on the voice characteristic. So this is the speech processing. On the computational semantics, so computational semantics is focuses on the meaning of language, involves methods such as the word embedding, representing this is the word on the vector in a continuous vector space, capturing semantic relationship between words. Example here is the word to back, globe, and fast text po. The semantic rule labeling, this is identifying the rules of words, phrases in a sentence, such as the agent, patient, and instrument po. And then the knowledge of graphs, so representing the information in a structured form, capturing entities and their relationship. So this is the computational semantic. Then number 7, it is the information retrieval and extraction. Information retrieval and extraction involves finding, extracting relevant information from large data set po. Search engines, indexing and retrieving documents based on user queries. And then information extraction, automatical extractions of structured information such as the facts relationship from the unstructured text. So this is the information retrieval extraction. And number 8 po, it is the language resources and tools. Several computational tools and yes po. Okay, proceed po ako. And resources are essential for linguistic research and application development. So here is the three bank. So annotated corpora with syntactic on semantic structure po. So alala nyo na po to ha. Corpora is the group of text po, no? Linguistic databases, this is a database containing the level of syntactic and semantic information such as the WordNet and FrameNet. For NLP libraries, software on libraries framework on NLP tasks such as the NLTK, SPC, and then Stanford NLP. For further reading on the deep understanding, consider the textbooks such as the Speech Language Processing by Daniel Jafarsky and James H. Martin, the Foundational of Statistical Natural Language Processing by Christopher D. Manning and Heinrich Sutzi. So this is our computational methods. Then next, maga pa naman po tayo, no? 12:23 pa. So 30 minutes pa po. Class, pasuyo po ng ating ano po ha, ng attendance po. Hindi po ako mag-check manual. Pa-turn in na po lahat. So types of parser. So on the types of parser, there are the essential components in the computer science, particularly in areas of computer science and natural language processing. They analyze the structure of input data, typically in the form of text, to determine with the statistic structure according to the given grammar. There are several types of paper parsers here. Each of the ano po, own methodology used to case on how here are the main types of parser. The top-down parsers po, here are the top-down. Parser are start from the root. So, nanggagaling po sa baba, pataas. So of the root, and then they work on down on the leaves po. They attempt to match the input string with the production of rules of grammar starting on the start symbol. Under the top-down parser, there are the recursive descendant or descent parser. On the description of recursive descent parser, a straightforward implementation of top-down parser where each of the non-terminals in the grammar has corresponding recursive function. So that is on the recursive descent. The advantages and disadvantages. So advantages po ng ating recursive descent parser is simple to implement, easy to understand, and debug po, makikita agad. Disadvantages po for can be inefficient but not handle the left recursion well. And the example here is the parsing arithmetic expression using the recursive function for each non-terminal. So that's on the recursive descent parser. Next po is the predictive parser or the LL parser. This is the description type of recursive descent on the parser that uses look ahead, makes parsing decision. For LL or LLK parser, use the K for tokens and look ahead to predict the production to use. Advantages here is the more efficient and general recursive descendant on parser can handle wider range of grammars. The disadvantages po is limited by the need of the look ahead and may not handle the left recursion. Example here is the LL parser which uses one token for look ahead po. So that's on the predictive parser po. On the bottoms up parser, this is start with the leaves. So manggagaling po sa taas, pababa. Parts of the tree and work in their way to the root. Attempts the reduce of input string from the start symbol by applying production rules in reverse po. Under the bottoms up parser, they are the shift reduce parser po. This is a bottom up parser that uses the stack on hold symbol applies and the reduce operations based on the input stack contents. Advantages here can handle the wider range of grammar, efficient and many practical applications. The disadvantages po ng ating shift reduce parser can be more complex and implement, may require conflict resolution and strategies. Example here is the parsing arithmetic expression by shifting tokens into stack of reducing them based on production rules. Full LR parser po on the left, right, or the rightmost derivation. The description, a type of reduced parser that reads input from the left to the right and produce rightmost derivation in reverse. Advantages po, the powerful and can handle a wide range of context-free grammars. The disadvantages here is more complex to implement and understand. And then the example here is the left, right, uh, and the SLR, LALR, and then the left, right also on the one parsers po. So under here are the bottoms up parser under po. So here the types of parser po that can be ano po on the L0 parser. The description here is simplifies the types of parser does not use look ahead advantages for to construct. Disadvantages here is limited to range of grammars it can handle. SLR or the SLR1 parser or the simple LR description is an improvement on LR that uses a single token for a look ahead for the follow of specific rules, resolve conflicts. Advantages and disadvantages here classes. Advantages is can handle more grammars than LR or the left right. Still limited on that compared to more advanced for ALR parsers. And then LALR parsers, look ahead. Description is combine the simplicity of SLR with power of LR by merging the states with similar items. Advantages here is the efficient and can handle most programming language grammars. The disadvantages po is the more complex than SLR but more efficient than full left and right SLR po. Then for LR parsers, description here is the most powerful left and right parser that uses a single token, look ahead and construct detailed parsing table. Advantages po can handle the widest range of context-free grammars. And then disadvantages po is complex and resource intensive construct to use po. So this is our types of our parsers. Then the next on the types of parser is the charter or the chart parsers. This is the chart parsers dynamic programming efficient and by storing the intermediate result. They're particularly for natural language processing. Early parser, this is a part of chart parser that can handle any context-free grammar. It is including those with the left in recursion and ambiguity po. And then advantages is a very strong or powerful, flexible that can be parsed ambiguous in complex grammars. Disadvantages po can be slower than the one parsers of certain types of grammars. Example is the parsing natural language competence with complex structures. And then for CYK parser, Chok Younger Kasami. This is the description, a chart of the parser that use a bottom-up approach dynamic programming to parse the input string. And then this is when the advantage is efficient on grammars and Chomsky, normal form or the CNF. And then the disadvantages po is that requires grammar be an CNF which may not be practical for all applications. Example here is the parsing string for formal languages and computational biology. Biology po. That's on the CYK. And then the fourth is the Parkat parser po. This is a type of parser uses memorization on the ensure linear on the parsing time and the parsing expression defined by the parsing grammars or PEGs. Advantages for is the guarantees of linear time on parsing handles the left recursion and backstring or backtracking efficiently. The disadvantages po ng types of parser is the disadvantages can be memory intensive due to memorization. And then example is the parsing. This is a parsing complex programming language construct with backtracking po. That's on the backward parser. On the DLR, parser or generalized LR, this is the description is that the extension from left to right po can be handled the any context grammar, including the ambiguous grammars po. Advantages po is the more powerful, they can handle highly ambiguous grammar po, and disadvantages is the complex of resource intensive. For example, here is the parsing natural language sentence with multiple possible interpretations po. And then for summary po, each type of the parser has strength and weakness and making them suitable for different applications. The choice of parser depends on the factors such as the complexity of the grammar and need efficiency and specific requirements of the application. For further reading po on the deep is the compilers of the principles, techniques, and tools by Ahulum, Sethi, and Ullman, and the parsing of techniques for practical guide on from Dick Grun and Cyril Jacobs po. So on the next po, I will do some discussion on the parse tree po. So let's ano po the video, but before we ano po doon sa ano natin. So I will do the ano po take home quiz po, no? Later po ipo-post ko na lang. So until 12 p.m. po today po, no? 15 items lang naman po 'yun class. So ano niyo na po, pag-aralan niyo na po 'yon. I-take home ko na lang po as assignment kasi 'di ba na-delay tayo nung isang araw. But ano lang naman po, 15 items po 'yun. Okay po? Okay lang po ba? Nakikinig po ang iba? Okay. Next week po, on Monday po, we are discussing the top-down parsing, intermediate representation, runtime, and environment code. Then, runtime system, and last ano na natin po, for our topic discussion po. Okay po? Hmm. Hmm. Wait lang, class. Thumbs up niyo po kung naririnig niyo po yung ano ha, yung volume po. Okay po, play ko na po.
Hello everyone and welcome back. In this session, we will be introduced to the parsers. So without any further ado, let's get to learning. Coming to the outcome of today's session, today we will at first observe the definition of parser. Thereafter, we will observe the ways of generating parse trees. And finally, we will observe the various classification of parsers. Now coming to the definition of the parser, if you remember, during the session, different phases of compiler, we were briefly introduced to the parser or the syntax analyzer. Let's now observe the formal definition of the parser. So basically, a parser is a program that generates a parse tree for the given string if the string is generated from the underlying grammar. Now what is meant by this? Observe this particular C code. After being processed through the lexical analyzer, this particular code will be converted into a string like this. Now this string will be fed into the parser, which is basically a program. Now the job of this parser is to generate the parse tree. Now the parse tree can only be generated if the string can be generated from the underlying grammar. So basically, the parse tree for this string can be generated by this parser if this particular string can be generated by the underlying grammar. So what the parser program will do? It will take the string as input, and with the help of this underlying grammar, it will generate the respective parse tree. So let's revise the formal definition of parser once again. A parser is a program that generates a parse tree for a given string if the string is generated from the underlying grammar. Let's now observe how the parse trees can be generated. Now, the generation of the parse tree can be done in two ways. The first one is the top-down approach, and the second one is the bottom-up approach. Now, in order to understand these approaches in bit more details, let's take an actual grammar and say with the help of this grammar, we are to generate the string A, B, C, D, E. Let's start off with the top-down approach first. Now, in case of the top-down approach, we will begin from the start symbol. So first, we will take the start symbol. Now, observe the production for S. S can be rewritten as small a followed by capital A, capital B followed by small e. So from S, we will derive small a, capital B, small e. Now observe the string carefully. This particular string has A at the beginning and E in the end. Now with this derivation, we have covered the first A and the last E of this particular string. Now coming back to our parse tree, we have got two more non-terminals, capital A and capital B. Let's observe the productions for them. A can be rewritten as capital A followed by small b, small c, or A can be rewritten as small a. Now coming to B, B can be rewritten as small d. Now observe the string a little bit more carefully. Apart from A and E at the beginning and at the end, we also have BC in the middle, right? So if from this particular A, using the production rule, A can be written as A, B, C, we derive capital A followed by small b, small c. Now observe the derivation. Apart from A and E, we have now also covered the terminals B, C in the middle of the string. Now let's come back to our parse tree. Observe. From this A, selecting the production rule, A can be rewritten as A if we derive A. With this derivation, we have covered A at the beginning. Observe A, then this A. Now in this entire parse tree, we have got only one non-terminal, that is B. And B can be rewritten as D. So let's derive that from this B, that is terminal D. Now observe the yield A, B, C, D, E, which is exactly this string. Now allow me to illustrate this derivation in a linear way. So we will start off with S deriving A followed by capital A, capital B, small e. Now from this sentential form, we are going to select this A for expansion. Observe the parse tree. This A was expanded using the production rule capital A followed by small b, small c. So let's do that in here. Basically, we use the production rule A can be rewritten as capital A followed by small b, small c. Now coming back to our parse tree, observe, once this one is derived, after that we are going to expand this A. So we will select this A for expansion. And from this A, using the production rule A can be rewritten as small a, we are going to derive small a. Now in this entire string, this is the only non-terminal. And the rule for that is B can be rewritten as D. So we will select this B for expansion. And from this one, we will derive D. Now observe this derivation carefully. At every point, we kept on expanding the leftmost non-terminal, didn't we? So this is leftmost derivation. So what I'm trying to say is, in top-down approach, we use leftmost derivation. Now during this derivation, the only decision we are going to make is which production to use. Observe, from this A, we could have derived A. But if we did so, we couldn't derive BC. And that is the reason we chose this production over this production. So basically, in top-down approach, we are to decide which production to use at which step. So this is all about the top-down approach which is followed by the top-down parsers. Let's now observe the bottom-up approach. Now in case of bottom-up approach, as the name suggests, we will start off with the string itself. Now if you observe the production rules, we generally say the left-hand side can be rewritten as the right-hand side, right? But alternatively, we can also say the right-hand side can be reduced to the left-hand side. That is, this particular terminal D can be reduced to this particular non-terminal B. Using this logic, the bottom-up approach works.
Here's how developers at Perplexity and NVIDIA are prompting AI 10 times faster. You're prompting Cursor over 100 times.
So basically, we will start off with the string itself, and using the production rules, we will keep on reducing the string until we get back to the start symbol. Let me show you how we do this. Now in this particular string, observe this A. This A can be reduced back to capital A. Using the production rule, A can be rewritten as small a. Or in other words, small a can be reduced to capital A. Now after this is reduced to A, if we include A, B, C, these three can also be reduced to A because capital A followed by BC can be reduced to capital A. Now observe, we have got this D, haven't we? Now from the production rule, B can be rewritten as D, or in other words, the terminal D can be reduced back to the non-terminal B. So let's reduce D back to B. Now observe, we have got A followed by capital A, capital B, small e. Now all of these together can be reduced back to the start symbol S. Due to the production rule, S can be rewritten as small a followed by capital A, capital B, small e. Or in other words, the left-hand side of this production can be reduced back to the start symbol S. So in bottom-up approach, starting from the string, we keep on reducing until we reach the start symbol. And this is how the parse tree is generated in bottom-up approach. Now let me illustrate this derivation in a linear manner. Starting with the start symbol S, we are going to derive this sentential form, small a, capital B, small e. Now this time we are going to select this B for expansion using the production rule. B can be rewritten as D. And from this B we are going to derive D. Observe, now this is the only non-terminal in this entire sentential form. So we will select this non-terminal for expansion. And this time we are going to make use of the rule A can be rewritten as capital A followed by small b, small c. So from this A, we are going to derive capital A followed by small b, small c. Now observe, in this particular sentential form, this is the only non-terminal. So we will select that for expansion. Now from this A, we are deriving small a using the production rule. A can be rewritten as small a. So from this A, we are going to derive A only. Now observe the derivation bit carefully. Starting from the first sentential form, at every point we kept on expanding the rightmost non-terminal, isn't it? Therefore, this derivation is nothing but rightmost derivation. However, this is not exactly rightmost derivation. Now why so? Observe the bottom-up approach carefully. We didn't derive the string from the start symbol. Rather, starting from the string, we reduce the entire thing back to the start symbol. Therefore, it is rightmost derivation, but in reverse. So, bottom-up approach uses rightmost derivation in reverse. And during the generation of this parse tree in bottom-up approach, the decision we are going to make is when to reduce. So this is all about the bottom-up approach, which is used by all the bottom-up parsers. So basically, the generation of parse tree can be done in two ways. One is top-down approach, which is followed by the top-down parsers, and the another one is bottom-up approach, which is followed by the bottom-up parsers. Let's now observe the classification of parsers. So parsers can be broadly classified into two different categories: the top-down parsers, which use the top-down approach, and the bottom-up parsers, which use the bottom-up approach. Now coming to top-down parsers, these can be broadly classified into two more categories. That is top-down parsers with backtracking and top-down parsers without backtracking. Now the top-down parsers which allow backtracking can be categorized into brute forcing algorithms, and this particular top-down parser uses the method of backtracking which we observed in the session non-determinism in CFGs. Coming to the top-down parsers without backtracking, this can also be further classified into two different categories. One is the recursive descent parsers, and the next one is the predictive parsers. Now some examples of predictive parsers are LL1, LLK. Now coming to the bottom of parsers, these are also known as the shift-reduce parsers. Now these parsers can also be classified into two different categories. One is the operator precedence parsers, and the other one is the LR parsers. Now coming to LR parsers, these can be classified into four different categories: LR0, SLR1, LLR1, and CLR1. Now we will learn about the different parsers in different sessions. In this chapter, we are going to focus on the top-down parsers, specifically the top-down parsers without backtracking. And in the next chapter, we will learn about all the bottom-up parsers. However, I would like to provide some insights about the different parsers. Now, except for the operator precedence parsers, all the other parsers are unable to handle the ambiguous grammars. So apart from this particular parser, for all the different parsers, we will have to use unambiguous CFGs. Now coming to the top-down parsers with backtracking, these can handle the non-deterministic CFGs. However, the top-down parsers without backtracking are unable to do it. So for these parsers, we will have to look for non-determinism in the CFGs, and if there are any, we will have to remove that. Apart from this, these kind of parsers are also incapable of dealing with the left recursion. Now coming to the LR parsers, SLR1 is more powerful than LR0, LLR1 is more powerful than SLR1, and CLR1 is the most powerful LR parser. So this is the classification of parsers. So in this session, we first observe the definition of parser. Thereafter, we observe the ways of generating parse trees, and finally, we observe the classification of parsers. Alright people, that will be all for this session. In the next session, we will learn. Hello everyone and welcome back. In the previous session, we were introduced to the parsers. In this session, we will start our journey of learning about the top-down parsers, starting off with the recursive descent parsers. So without any further ado, let's get to learning. Coming to the outcome of today's session, today we will first observe the top-down parsers. Thereafter, we will learn about the recursive descent parser with the help of an example. Now, in the previous session, we observed the classification of parsers, didn't we? There, I told you that the top-down parsers can be classified into two different categories. That is, the top-down parsers with backtracking, which use brute forcing algorithms. On the other hand, we have the top-down parsers without backtracking. Now, in this course of compiler design, we will mainly focus on the top-down parsers without backtracking. So from now onwards, whenever we mention about the top-down parsers, remember, we are talking about the top-down parsers without backtracking. So let's observe the top-down parsers now. Now, in the previous session only, we came to know that the top-down parsers use the top-down approach of generating the parse trees. And in this particular approach, it uses the leftmost derivation, and the decision which it has to deal with is which production to use. Now, in order to construct a top-down parser, the context-free grammars should not have left recursion and any kind of non-determinism. That is, the top-down parsers, which is actually the top-down parsers without backtracking, because in case of top-down parsers with backtracking, those actually allow the non-deterministic context-free grammars. However, we are not interested in those. We are rather interested in the top-down parsers without backtracking. And in order to construct the top-down parsers, the context-free grammars should never have the left recursion. That is, if our context-free grammars have any kind of left recursion, we are supposed to eliminate that. And if you can recall, in the previous chapter, we already have learned the procedures of removal of left recursion. Furthermore, we also have to remove any kind of non-determinism. Now, if you recall, in the previous chapter itself, we also have learned the method of left factoring, using which we can eliminate any kind of non-determinism. So at the introductory level, this is all we have to know about the top-down parsers. Let's now observe the recursive descent parser now.
May iba't ibang rason kung bakit tayo nagta-travel. Si Mia, gustong hanapin ang sarili.
Hi, Subi. I'm Tsue.
At pag sinwerte ka, may makakasama kang maghanap. Si Meggie.
Hello. Communicate in English easily. Use Grammarly and
The definition of the recursive descent parser is something like this. A recursive descent parser is a top-down parser built from a set of mutually recursive procedures or a non-recursive equivalent, where each such procedure implements one of the non-terminals of the grammar. Thus, the structure of resulting program closely mirrors that of the grammar it recognizes. So basically what we are trying to mean in here is recursive descent parser is actually built from a set of mutually recursive procedures or a non-recursive equivalent. Now, what is a recursive procedure? These are actually the functions that we will be creating, which can be recursive, or a non-recursive equivalent can also be there. Now, what about the recursive procedures? These are actually the functions which can call themselves. Now, having mutually recursive procedures is not mandatory. We can also have non-recursive equivalent procedures. Now, the procedures will actually implement all the non-terminals of the grammar. Yes, that's correct. Basically, in a grammar, we have terminals and non-terminals. So, all the non-terminals in all the production rules of the grammar will have different procedures. And this way, the structure of the resulting program will closely mirror the grammar it is supposed to recognize. Now, this particular definition will be more clear with the help of an example. So, consider the following grammar having the rules. E can be rewritten as I, E prime or E dash, and E dash or E prime can be rewritten as plus followed by I followed by E dash or epsilon. So what we are going to do, we are going to take this grammar and we will try and build the recursive descent parser for that, and we will also observe how that works. Basically, we will try to observe that if this particular grammar is implemented using procedures, in that case, how can the recursive descent parser recognize an input string with the help of the procedures which mirror this particular grammar? So let's begin. Now, just now we have seen the recursive descent parser's definition. It said that for a given grammar, we will have to create procedures for all the non-terminals. So let's start off with this particular production. E can be rewritten as I followed by E dash. Now the function defining this will look something like this. Now as you can see, this is the procedure of E, and within the definition of E, we have this if statement which has a variable look ahead which is matching with I. Now look ahead is actually a variable which will be keeping track of the input stream. Now within this if block, we have another function called match which has the argument I. This procedure actually mirrors this I in this production rule. Now after this procedure match, as you can see, we are calling another procedure that is E dash, which basically mirrors the implementation of E dash in this production rule. Now just an FYI, we know recursive descent parser is actually a top-down parser without backtracking. And for the top-down parsers, we need a grammar which should not have any kind of ambiguity. Also, it shouldn't have any kind of non-determinism, and the grammar should also not have any kind of left recursion. Observe, these are actually right recursive grammars, as on the right hand side, the rightmost element is the non-terminal in both the cases. Now, if you remember when we started learning about recursion, we learned that with the help of right recursive rules, we can create procedures as such where we can use the beta as a conditional statement, and within that block of the conditional statement, we can have alphas, which actually refrains us from getting into an infinite loop, doesn't it? Now let's deal with the next production rule, that is E dash can be rewritten as plus followed by I followed by E dash or epsilon. Now the procedure for E dash will look something like this. Observe, this is the procedure for E dash, and within the definition of E dash, we have two branching statements, that is this conditional if and the else. Now this if is actually for handling this portion of the production, and this else, which only states return, this one handles this portion of the production. So basically, E dash can be rewritten as epsilon is mirrored by E dash returning to the function whichever called it. Now apart from these two procedures, you can also see we have a procedure called match in both of the procedures. So let's define the match procedure for this. Now in the definition of match, as you can see, we are having the formal argument char c. Now this formal parameter will actually take values from these actual parameters.
Work is a pain in the apps. My files are in this app, my chat's in this app.
And within the definition of this match, we also have two-way branching, that is this if and this else. Basically, the work of this if is we are going to take the look ahead and match it with the parameter which has just been fetched by this particular procedure. And if this matches, in that case, the look ahead will invoke the getChar function, which will fetch the next character from the input stream into this variable look ahead. And if it doesn't match, in that case, due to this else, we will get the output error. Now, apart from these three functions, we will also have another function, that is the main function. Now, coming to the main function, if you observe the definition of it, it just calls the function e, which happens to be the start symbol of the grammar. And once the entire execution of e is done, the main function will then check if the look ahead is the dollar symbol or not. Now, why we are checking this? Because in all the parsers, whenever we use any input string, in order to denote the end of the input string, we use this dollar symbol. Basically, in the input buffer, we are going to place this dollar symbol by the end of the input string. You can relate this with the strings or character arrays. In case of those, we actually have the null to denote the end of the array, don't we? Similar to that, here also, in order to denote the end of the input stream, we will use this dollar symbol. And if that look ahead matches this dollar symbol, we will print this output parsing successful. Now let me illustrate how these functions are going to work if we have the input I plus I. And observe, for this input, we already have placed the dollar at the end of the input stream. Now let's find out whether this particular input stream can be recognized using these functions. Now obviously we are going to begin from the main function. So we are in here right now. Now once we are in here, we will proceed further and we will get inside the main function's definition. Now see, in this particular line number 3, we actually are calling the function e, right? Now to be really honest, this particular grammar has been mirrored using these functions, isn't it? So whenever we will call a function, we will also try to create the parse tree simultaneously, which will help us visualize the entire procedure. So right now we are at the line number 3 of the main function, and here we are calling the function e. So to visualize this, we are going to place the non-terminal e in here. Now once this e is executed, thereafter we will come back to the line number 4, and we are marking this line number so that we can remember when we come back where should we start from. So basically this is just a marker. Now we just call the function e. So we will start from here, that is this line number 1. Now once we are at function e, that is the procedure e, we will get inside that. Now by the time we come to the line number 3, we are going to invoke this if statement. Look ahead is I or not. Now if you remember, I told you about the look ahead. It is actually going to keep track of the elements in the input stream, which in this case is keeping track of the first element of the input stream, that is I.
Why does composing one email about the meeting take longer than the
Sorry for extension 1 minute. So uh, let's continue the discussion by next week. So I just posted our quiz for today, so kindly take on that. So until 11 p.m. tonight. So it will be your due date on this quiz number 3. Okay pa? So nakapag-turn in na po lahat ng attendance. Let's see, dalawa na lang hindi na gano'n. Okay po. So kung wala na pong katanungan or wala na pong needed or kung may kailangan po, inform nila lang po sa GC natin. Okay? So thank you for today po, and it's Friday po by tomorrow. Enjoy for everyone. Take care po. Bye-bye.